It's Nemo Nation, broadcasting from the Fastport Studios at the historic Degas House in the city of New Orleans, just blocks away from where trucking radio first began.
By the way, Joe J is right. Well, friends, winter is here in the Midwest, blah. It's also here down south. It's got everything frozen up. I mean, we literally, things are playing wrong. Heat is blowing nasty smells because nobody runs the heater here in New Orleans. The place is completely out of whack. But it is Nemo Nation. And I am sitting across from my good friend Dave Nemo, who I got a bone to pick with.
Oh, no. Already? We just got here.
Yeah,
not a bone.
Literally, Dre asked
It's a wishbone. Did you guys do wishbones when you were a kid?
I loved them.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I loved a wishbone. Did you ever, desperately try to... Did you learn about wishbones from cartoons?
Ooh, I did that. From that and also having older parents. Because they're like, you're going to break this thing right now, and we're going to see who the better one is.
Well, the thing that was so interesting, I never knew about wishbones until I saw it in a cartoon, and then eventually it's like, and then all the kids are fighting over the wishbone. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of the deal.
The real thing I got from cartoons was quicksand. I was definitely afraid of quicksand, never encountered quicksand.
I know. By the way, people say, and then they tell you quicksand isn't real, and then people would die in quicksand. You'd be like, no, it's real. It's sand that's quick. Yeah. And people sink in it, and they can't get out of it. And I don't know why that's like... It's not real. Quicksand isn't real. Yes, it is.
But did you ever do the wishbone where you did it and you had to see who? How many times can you count off the top of your head that you're like, ooh, yeah?
Oh my God! I mean, I'm a little boy doing this. So I don't know. Every Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but it brings back that good memory of just growing up Thanksgiving.
Sure,
How about you, Jimmy?
I was going to pick on Dave. Can I pick on Dave?
Oh, yeah, you can pick on Dave.
And we'll get back to the wishbone
pick on him.
So he does this really great interview with Truckers' Voices.
Okay.
Does a great interview with Truckers' Voices. They give him a layup. They say, well, what's different about this platform from the other one? Do you remember your answer?
I don't remember the answer.
You went, well, it's got less listeners.
Did I say that?
And then just left it right there. And Tara called me. She's like, what is he doing? First of all, what are you doing? Second of all, it's not true. That's the good news, actually. We know that our friends in the previous platform were goosing the numbers. When you add up all of our impressions and all of our listeners, we're actually doing about the same.
Really?
Which is really groovy. Really groovy. It's just not in one place.
Wasn't there I didn't listen to the interview.
You know why I can pick on you about that one moment, right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because you did a good job.
Well, wasn't that part of an answer that laid out?
No, you did one of your routines. And it just landed. And I think it was partially a joke, but it just landed like a Led Zeppelin, dude. It was just like, what?
Really?
I mean, Tara's like going, are you listening? She's like, I'm going to get up there. I said, Tara, do not go on there. I said, we have to call him out. And I said, if I go out there and say, actually, Dave was incorrect, that's called the Streisand effect. What we're doing right now is just kind of picking and having a little bit of fun. It's a terrific interview. Our good friend Tim over at Truckers' Voices, they're great guys, aren't they?
They really are. Tim and Steve are really good guys. They get it.
Oh my God, do they get it? They get it, and by the way, it's interesting that despite all of their new format stuff and all of that kind of groovy newfangled technology, it really is old school. I mean, what they're doing in many ways is in the spirit of the Road Gang because it is wholesome.
It is.
It's a couple of guys having fun, a couple of guys hitting the ball in the rough and then making great shots to get out of the rough. There's a lot of that spirit in there. It's really quality stuff. It's a lot of fun. Truckers' Voices is something you guys should check out. There's a lot of stuff you should check out, and we got a lot of stuff you should check out this morning. By the way, if you have lost your heart on iHeart, you're in the right place. If you have the audacity to listen on Odyssey, you have made your way into the proper location. Let's just say that you want to open up that Pandora's box. Go ahead, open it up, see what kind of trouble you can start up because, man, this is Nemo Nation, the fastest paced, instantaneous, what's happening this week, what's happening next week show in the known universe. And we're looking at those folks from Zebulon 5, who, by the way, have entered a period of free agency, if you haven't heard, Dave.
Oh, I have not.
Dr. Philostratus is now a free agent. So I wanted to kind of point that out to anybody who gets that particular gag. But this is Nemo country, and we're over here at the Edgar Degas House in the middle of the city of New Orleans in one of its most beautiful neighborhoods. And all of this is brought to you by the guys who actually have the flags on our microphones.
Yeah,
like
those
that flag?
flags are so cool.
Look at that flag over
I
there.
know.
Look at that flag over here. What do
Yeah.
those flags say?
Fastport and Radio Nemo.
Fastport, by the way, is finding hiring solutions, onboarding solutions, recruiting solutions, especially in the veteran space. All of it made possible by newfangled technology, but most importantly, people like our good friend BB the King, who, Andre, you got to say congratulations.
No.
You got to say congratulations. You got to do it.
All right, hold on. Hey, listen. That's
Roll
really
Tide.
cool that y'all got the referees on y'all's payroll, but that was a pretty good game. I'm butthurt, okay? I'm happy for y'all. That was good. It started off great. We were playing like a team, but then after that, Alabama's just good, man. It's good. Don't tag it. No one clip this. All right, that's all I'm saying.
It's going to be a great playoff, and LSU is really going to enjoy watching it on television. That's what it's going to come to.
All right, I'm leaving.
By the way, Texas A&M looks like the truth, dude. They look like the truth. The hurting they laid on you, they went in not only to Tiger Stadium, but this week they went into the other Tiger Stadium, Missouri, and they laid a whooping on them too. Mike Elko is the truth.
We need a coach, man. That assistant coach was looking like a deer in headlights, buddy.
You see something really funny, by the way. So Vanderbilt, which of course defeated LSU,
that team, dude.
Texas A&M defeated LSU, and Vanderbilt and Texas and A&M are like killing it right now.
Yeah.
You know who the coaches are, right? Former defensive coordinators for Brian Kelly. There you go. Dave, one of the things we do here is we do a weekly show called Night Beat. You can go to Nightbeat at radionemo.com, Nightbeat at radionemo.com. We're going to get Dean Croke in here right now.
Oh, he's in.
Why don't you say good morning?
Oh, yeah. Good morning,
What's
Dean.
going
Hey,
on,
man.
dude? Hey,
Are you
man.
there?
How you doing?
What are you wearing?
Good. I'm in my DAT swag, getting ready for our weekly show.
There we go.
So you actually are dealing with how is the weather in Boston, man? Because we got our first really genuine look. I mean, 42 degrees is basically balmy for you guys, but down here it's like, what the hell just happened? What is the weather like up in Boston right now?
Well, we've got the reverse. It's cold everywhere else. Apparently, there's snow out on I-80. Apparently, according to some truckers that I was talking to this morning. But we've got unseasonably warm weather in the 50s, which is kind of bizarre, but it drops down into the 40s this week. But we've got sort of really nice fall weather. It's actually quite pleasant, which is nice.
Well, that's the thing, by the way, which will make you laugh. So our fall weather, Dean, is actually our winter weather is actually your fall weather. So what's your experience right now? Although I will say that I live on the lakefront of the city of New Orleans, so it got much warmer as I made my way into town because it didn't have a giant wet wind making its way up my nostrils.
Great band name.
Yeah, a giant wet wind. That's a good
Wet
band name. We have actually asked Dean, and we want to welcome him. Dave and I want to welcome him this morning.
Indeed.
And Dave, if you want to jump on the Google Meets as well for the Dave Nemo
okay.
thing, you can actually get a chance to see Dean here. Dre doesn't able to jump on the Google Meets because, well, somebody stole his tablet. Yeah, somebody broke into Dre's car on Friday morning and stole all of his stuff. Yeah, bad scene. We want to welcome Dean this morning because it's the beginning of a new tradition. He's going to start stopping in just for a little bit, not his extended period. He can be here as long as he likes, but we want to make sure that he's got the rest of his life to get to, just to kind of give us a week ahead, looking forward to rates and all that kind of stuff, a quick sum up. But how are you doing besides all of that? Everything's going good over there?
Yeah, great. This is an exciting week. Well, I shouldn't say that. It's kind of a somber week, actually. It's Veterans Day tomorrow, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also today's the 50th anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, which, of course, on Lake Superior was quite the ordeal for a bunch of people. But it also underscores the importance of the steel industry. How big freighters are in the general transport ecosystem. So it's an important week in the transportation industry just to look back and reflect on how important, logistics is. But of course, people like Transport and all the good work that Brad Bentley does and how the veterans in our community and how much they make of our truck driving community. So I think it's an important week just to look back and reflect on how important they are and, all the good work that Transport does and how important all of the things that we are doing, collectively in the lead up to across America, relaying all those reefs in Arlington. So this is a really important time of the year. But this week is, I think, for me, starting off today is just a week of reflection more than anything in the big picture.
It's interesting, too, because we're actually doing our veteran warm-up today before we get to the main event tomorrow. Al Hanley, who is the CEO of Troops and Transportation, is actually going to be here for a half an hour, but he is bringing 3 onboarded veterans in William Caswell, Mark Smith, and Robert Brown. So he's actually taken the half an hour that we've given him, and he wants to make room for 3 veterans who served their country honorably and now work in transportation, wants to make some space for them as well. And the Edmund Fitzgerald, Dave, I wanted to ask you this. That serious road, the road gang. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you'd play on the road gang, right?
Well, I used to do that. Number Cheryl and I and Amy on bass used to play that song back in the late 70s, early 80s at the Penny Post Coffee House.
And by the way, guys, if you're just joining us, Dean Croke is with us, and I wanted to let you guys know, and especially Dean know, that what Dave is talking about is that he, his daughter Amy, who's my age, Claire's a little bit younger than I am, and Cheryl were all musicians over at the Penny Post. They did folk music at the Penny Post, and that is like crazy. Was you singing? Was it you? Were you the singer, or did you guys split up the lyrics? You know that song, right, Dean?
I was the singer. Yeah. You know, Gordon Lightfoot, Dean, said that Record of the Edmund Fitzgerald was his most significant and most meaningful work.
Really? Wow. It's such a soul-moving song. Like, still to this day, I listen to that and I get goosebumps all over my body. And you know, I was just reflecting this morning when I woke up and I thought, because I get a moment of sort of reflection every time I get to this anniversary of this event, and I don't know why, but I just do. And I was talking to a friend of mine over the weekend who's runs a triaxle drop deck out of Alberta, and he was hauling a load of bentonite from Death Valley, of all places, in Nevada. And I said, what are you hauling bentonite out of Death Valley for? And he said, well, we're taking it up to the oil sands. And I got thinking about this. And of course, I'm watching this documentary this morning on my exercise bike, getting ready for today, getting motivated. And of course, they use bentonite to mix with the concentrated iron ore to turn it into pellets, which is the taconite that they put on the train to take to Duluth and Superior to go onto the Great Lakes freighters that take around to Toledo and Cleveland, that goes into the steel mills that we end up in washing machines that go on the back of our trucks. It's just a fascinating story.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to give you, you guys know I love watching these videos where people under 30 listen to songs for the first time. And somebody's made and I'll send it to both of you guys, send it to Dre as well. Somebody took kids reacting to the Edmund Fitzgerald, made a compilation video. So you get to hear the whole song, but you also get to watch a whole bunch of under 30-somethings listen to it for the first time. And you would think they would be turned off by it. They are so deeply moved by both the storytelling and the troubadour energy of it. And by the way, any song where you can figure out a way to get your gumi into the rhyme scheme and make it work logically as opposed to silly.
That's harder than Ghostbusters.
That's masterful.
Ray Parker Jr. Talked about writing the song Ghostbusters. He said the hardest thing was to figure out how to get Ghostbusters into the lyric.
Oh yeah, just crazy. But it's like the legend lives on from the Chippewa on down on the big lake they call Getchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. It works. It's not silly.
My neighbours who are in their 40s, I was talking to about it yesterday, and they said, "Who's Gordon Lightfoot?" And because my standard line to someone I don't know is, "Who did they drive for?" You know, if they anybody I don't know, who did they drive for? And people think,
oh my God!
But they were there's 25 years between my neighbours and I, and they said, "Who's Gordon Lightfoot? And what's Edmund Fitzgerald?" And I'm thinking, there's a whole generation between someone like me that grew up with the Edmund Fitzgerald and Gordon Lightfoot. So I get what you're talking about, but Lake Superior, Jimmy Mac, is it's like 10% of the world's fresh water. It's got its own weather system. So when Gordon Lightfoot writes about the gales of November, most people don't realise that this is like one of the biggest waterways in the world.
It's massive.
These 35-foot waves that when they washed across the Edmund Fitzgerald at 7 o'clock at night, it had 10 feet of freeboard when he was trying to skirt around that northern part of Lake Superior to evade the storm. It actually came through. So with 10 feet of freeboard and those 35-foot waves came through, like there was very little hope they were going to get out of that at that point. Like 35-foot waves on a freshwater lake, that's extraordinary.
It's death. It's an atomic bomb. And I have to tell you, you talk about the goosebumps and the chills, and I know Dave has sung the song. Is there anything more chilling, boys? It's been good to know you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's just when the cook comes in and says, "Game over, guys."
You know,
Right.
that song is a ballad in the truest sense of the word. And back in the earlier days before, recording even before the written word was widespread, they used to have balladeers, as Jim pointed out, troubadours, who used to go around giving the news of the day or the news, of the era, so to speak, singing songs, because songs were easy to remember. They were easy to hang
I don't know
down.
if you know that, but the Iliad, the Odyssey, and the Aeneid are actually songs.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a very gifted actor who you probably both know by sight named Dennis O'Hare, who actually got a modern translation of the Aeneid and did it. And did it in singing acting formation, and it is compelling. He said, I wanted to give people a sense of what it was like to hear these things. He said, we have no idea, of course, because the past is science fiction. Obviously, nobody knows who Gordon Lightfoot is. God help us, nobody's going to know what the Aeneid is. But he came in and he did it, Dave, and he sang it. But he did it in that kind of Gordon Lightfoot style, bum, 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 bum. And it's a weird thing to sing, too, I think, because unlike most songs where you can kind of forget it and sing it, you've got to actually be connected to what you're saying, because you can get lost. You get lost in the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. That's an embarrassing scene right there.
Mm-hmm.
Dave is nodding emphatically,
6
by
minutes
the way.
worth.
Dean, we got to do all the rest of the show. We're just dropping you in here to say hi and good morning. Can you give people a preview of anything in regards to rates or freight, anything else we should look for this week before we get you out of here?
Yeah, last week exposed the soft underbelly of this freight market. Rates were flat last week at a time when rates should be going up. So they were, the start of November, we're 10 days into November, rates should be going up as we head into Thanksgiving. They didn't. They were basically flat. If you think about DAT's load board, it's there to take the excess and the surge demand. We had 2 million load posts last week. They went down compared to the prior week. Normally they go up. But when you dig into the top 10 load post markets, the top 10 freight markets in the country, which represent about a quarter of those 2 million load posts that we get every week, they dropped 15%. That's Chicago, Atlanta, New Jersey, California. So the soft underbelly of the market was exposed last week. It's softening at a time when it normally goes up. So that's, manufacturing is essentially stalled. The goods market is kind of in that recessionary mode right now. Consumer confidence is down. Good news, though, the Senate did pass a bill last night. The House has got 48 hours to come back to pass that. If the shutdown is over, I think that might give us a slight reprieve and people might get back to spending. But the way it sits right now, the market did go through a bit of a slowdown last week, and I think that was impacted mostly by the shutdown.
We'll have Eugene Malero on the show later on from Transport Topics, and of course that's his bailiwick. That's his kind of focus on things. I wanted to tell you something really cool, and I can say it on the air. I'm going to be talking with our friends, the Noises, Matt and Danielle, later on today about them contributing, maybe doing a once-a-week drop-in of created content to give people a weather report for the coming week for all of our truck driving friends out there. Just kind of an overview of what they can expect over the course of the week. So I thought you would be interested in that since you're the one who made that connection in the first place. Dean, I'm glad we started this tradition. We're off to a great start, and it's been good to know you, but unlike the Edmund Fitzgerald, we'll see you next time, okay?